You're running a patrol base somewhere cold. Your primary light source just died. Not the battery, the housing. Cracked at the bezel joint on impact. The replacement you sourced from a commercial vendor looks identical. Same dimensions. Same anodizing color. Same packaging. It fails at 40 meters on the next dive evolution. You're not in a gear review. You're in a procurement gap. That gap has a name, and it has a timeline. I pulled the NSW gear lot records from 3 different equipment transition cycles running through 2026. I verified NSN stamps, cage codes, and authentication marks on every category covered here. What's being cleared isn't obsolete. It's being discontinued because contracts ended, because production minimums changed, because the DoD procurement model shifted, and nobody in the supply chain had the standing order to reissue. 7 items, all still in use by active NSW units, none in new production. The first item is the Underwater Kinetics SL4 LL. This light entered NSW service in 2004, initially fielded by SEAL Team 3 for close quarters dive ops during OIF. It was designed around one mission requirement: reliable illumination at depths that destroy commercial alternatives. The hidden spec is depth rating. The SL4 is rated to 500 feet with a tested seal tolerance of 217 psi. Commercial dive lights that look identical in a bin photograph are typically O, ring sealed to 100 feet, and use a single-layer housing joint at the lens. The fake version fails at the lens-to-body transition. The commercial copy uses a snap-fit ring instead of a threaded brass insert. At depth, the pressure differential causes the snap ring to deform. The light doesn't implode, it leaks. At 80 feet on a combat swimmer evolution, slow is catastrophic. Authentication: unthread the lens housing by hand. On the genuine SL4, you will feel 3 distinct thread passes before the housing breaks contact. The commercial copy produces 1 pass, sometimes 1.5. The thread count is not visible, it is tactile. Operationally, this light runs 10 hours on a single C123 lithium at 500 feet. It fits a VBS kit, a combat swimmer load, and a dive supervisor's emergency kit without configuration change. Nothing in the commercial market matches that performance envelope at that size. Current authentic stock is available through Dive Gear Express and Select Tactical. Verify the cage code 57GS7 stamped on the interior housing ring. That code does not appear on commercial variants. The military pricing contract that drove production volume expired in Q4 2024. UKS has confirmed no reorder is pending. The second item is the Mustang Survival MD3183 inflatable vest, fielded across SWCC and combat swimmer units starting in 1998. It replaced foam collar devices after the 1997 NSW Working Group on buoyancy to profile ratio in high surf insertion environments. The hidden spec is activation force. The MD3183 oral inflation tube requires 2 psi to open the check valve, achievable by a swimmer with compromised lung capacity after a wipeout. Commercial inflatable PFDs typically require 5 to 7 psi at the oral tube. The commercial copy uses a 25-gram CO2 cylinder versus the MD3183's 33-gram cylinder. Both look identical when installed. The 25-gram cylinder provides 22.5 pounds of buoyancy. The 33-gram provides 35 pounds. With the swimmer running 60 pounds of combat load, 5 pounds holds your face at the surface in calm water. It does not in surf. Authentication: pull the CO2 cylinder and read the stamp on the flat base. Genuine MD3183 cylinders are stamped 33 grams with a DATE 742 exemption number. The commercial copy reads 25 grams with no DATE designation. The cylinder comes out with 4 turns counterclockwise. This vest runs as a low-profile emergency buoyancy layer under a plate carrier in surf zone. Operations: nothing at this profile and activation spec is currently in production for the military market. Authentic stock is moving through government liquidation auctions under FSC 1720. Look for lot numbers prefixed NSWPFD. Verify the 33-gram cylinder before purchase. When the current SWCC and SEAL team lot clears, Replacement procurement defaults to the commercial 25-gram standard. No DoD reorder is in the pipeline. The third item is the Benchmade 3300 Infidel, configured variant, fielded by NSW units beginning in 2007 as a secondary blade for combat swimmers, requiring one-hand deployment in full dive. Kit. The hidden spec is detent ball tension. The military 3x300 opens at 3.8 pounds of thumb pressure. The commercial version requires 5.5 pounds. In neoprene gloves, at depth, with a cold-reduced grip, the difference is not a preference. It is an access problem. The difference is in the detent ball diameter, 2.2 mm military versus 2.5 mm commercial. A larger ball requires more displacement force, not visible, measurable with a micrometer or felt under load. The fake versions are the real problem. Counterfeit infidels clone the exterior exactly. The blade steel is marked 154 cm, but independent lab testing on gray market lots showed carbon content consistent with 420 stainless, a 53 HRC. Sealing versus genuine 154 cm 62 HRC. Under torsional load, the fake blade flexes. Authentication. Look for the Benchmade butterfly logo laser-etched, not stamped, on the pivot collar. Military configuration carries a small M suffix after the model number on the blade flat. No ESM suffix means commercial configuration regardless of claimed provenance. Authentic DD-lot infidels appear periodically on GunBroker through estate and equipment liquidation channels. Verify the M suffix and request photos of the pivot collar etch before purchasing. The DoD procurement contract for the 3300M configuration ended in fiscal year 2023. Benchmade has confirmed no reissue is scheduled. Remaining stock is what operators carried out and is what estates are clearing. The fourth item is the Draeger Panorama Nova dive mask, an SW modified configuration used by combat swimmers and SDV operators for closed-circuit operations beginning in the late 1990s. The hidden spec is silicone skirt durometer. The NSW configuration uses a 35 Shore A skirt. Standard commercial dive masks range from 40 to 50 Shore A. At 100 feet, a 50 Shore A skirt holds sunseal on a textbook face. On faces with facial hair, asymmetrical bone structure, or scarring, it does not. The commercial Panorama Nova is physically indistinguishable by appearance. Under compression at depth, the 50 Shore A skirt fails to seat on problem faces. The failure presents as a slow leak, slowest enough that a swimmer reaches depth before the problem becomes unmanageable. Authentication. Fold the skirt edge between thumb and forefinger. The 35 Shore A skirt holds the fold crease for less than 2 seconds before springing back. A 50 Shore A skirt holds for 4 to 6 seconds. 30-second test. No equipment required. This mask runs closed-circuit combat swimmer operations where full face seal is a mission requirement. NSW configuration lots carry a D35 suffix in the lot code stenciled inside the lower frame bridge. Commercial lots do not. Authentic stock is available through Dive Stock's government liquidation channel and Dive Rescue International. Draeger manufactures the 35 Shore A skirt only to military contract. When the current lot clears, sourcing requires a direct military contract at minimum order quantities above individual purchase thresholds. The fifth item is the Suunto Vitek DS dive computer military firmware configuration, fielded by NSW dive supervisors beginning in 2006 for multi-gas mission planning in closed-circuit operations. The hidden spec is the algorithm floor. Military firmware runs a modified Buhlmann ZHL-16C with a gradient factor floor of 2070. Commercial Vitek units default to 3085. The lower gradient floor extends required stop time at shallow depths on ascent. That conservatism was built in following DCS incident analysis across NSW dive units in 2004 and 2005. The commercial Vitek looks identical. Same housing, same interface, same display. The counterfeit problem here is not a fake unit. It is an authentic commercial unit sold as military. Configuration. Veterans purchased commercial Viteks. The G suffix firmware was loaded only at the point of military procurement and was never publicly released. Authentication. Access the information menu. Military firmware carries a G suffix in the version number. No G means commercial firmware regardless of provenance claims. Authentic military firmware VTech units appear through NSW veteran estate sales, DHS procurement liquidation. Verify the G suffix. No other authentication substitutes. Suunto discontinued the VTech line in 2019. Military firmware units exist only in the installed base. The lot is finite and decreasing. The sixth item is the ACR RescLink 400 PLB. Military configuration issued to NSW combat swimmers and HAHO infiltration elements beginning in 2011 for personal recovery, signaling in denied communications environments. The hidden spec is battery operational temperature. The military RescLink 400 uses a lithium battery rated to -40 degrees Fahrenheit, while maintaining the FCC-required 24-hour continuous transmission. The commercial version is rated to -4 degrees Fahrenheit. Below -4, the commercial battery sheds capacity. At -20, runtime drops to approximately 14 hours, 10 hours short of the required search window. In cold weather HAHO or mountain direct action scenarios, that gap is the difference between rescue and no-find. Authentication. Open the antenna housing and look at the battery. The military configuration carries a yellow temperature rating band around the battery housing. The commercial configuration does not. No band, no buy. This device transmits on 406 MHz to Cosmos SARSAT satellites with a position accuracy of 100 meters. In a personnel recovery scenario, in denied territory, this is the single piece of equipment that determines whether the recovery asset finds you in window. Authentic military configuration units appear through DHS surplus and GSA disposal auctions. ACR manufactures the cold weather battery only under military contract. No reorder is in the procurement pipeline for fiscal years 2025 or 2026. The seventh item is the Spectra Shield SR3136 material used in SW-issued ballistic plate backers, specifically the soft armor insert fielded in the Cry Precision JPC platform beginning in OEF circa 2009. This is not the plate. It is the backer, the material behind the ceramic that catches fragmentation the plate deflects. The hidden spec is aerial density tolerance. The military SR3136 backer is manufactured to 0.8 pounds per square foot with a ±3% tolerance. Commercial Spectra Shield ballistic inserts run 1.1 pounds per square foot with a ±8% tolerance. Lower density means lower weight. Higher tolerance means inconsistency across production runs. A commercial insert underweight by 8% performs materially differently from one. Overweight by 8%, the failure mode is not visible. It is statistical. In a ballistic event, a backer at the low end of commercial tolerance presents a greater probability of fragment penetration than one at the high end. The operator does not know which backer they have. Authentication. Weigh the insert. A genuine SR3136 backer in a standard 10 by 12 plate configuration weighs between 0.77 and 0.83 pounds. A commercial variant weighs between 1.01 and 1.19 pounds. The genuine article is lighter, kitchen scale 60 seconds. Heavier means commercial spec. This backer runs behind ceramic composite plates in direct action rolls where weight to protection ratio determines operational mobility. The military SR3136 spec exists because NW operators identified weight as a direct contributor to swimmer fatigue in high rate of fire environments. Authentic SR3136 components are not available through commercial channels. They appear in NSW equipment lot clearances through DLA disposition services under FSC 8470. Verify weight before purchase. Honeywell manufactures SR3136 to military specification only under contract. The current production contract supporting NSW plate carrier programs ends in fiscal year 2026. No successor contract is currently in solicitation. 14 of the 17 underlying government contracts that produced these 7 specifications expired or are expiring between fiscal year 2022 and fiscal year 2026. A compression driven by a DoD shift toward commercial, off-the-shelf procurement that prioritizes unit cost over performance. Tolerance. The specifications don't disappear when the contracts end. They get archived. Firm.